Hi, this is Paul from Cradle of Filth, and you're listening to Metalholic. Stay tuned.
Hey everybody, this is Rustin with Metalholic and the Examiner. With us today, the great Paul Allender of Cradle of Filth. How are you doing, brother?
Yeah, good. How's it going?
Absolutely wonderful, and you guys have a big year going so far. 2 albums, not the least of which is the brand new one, the Manticore and Other Horrors. So let's jump right into it and talk about that first. I just got my hands on it a couple of days ago and really gave it a listen, and phenomenal album, and it really harkens back to your return when you originally returned to the band with the 4th album. That's sort of the feel and vibe I got of this one. A lot of punk influences, a little darker. I like to call it colliginous. Was that an intention to sort of head back to that earlier sound?
Yeah, well, it was, it was this album, it was myself and the drummer that was not completely responsible for this, to be honest. We took a year break from the band. Well, everybody just took roughly about a year off, because obviously we've been together for so long, we needed to kind of recharge the batteries, to be honest. And so we took a really long break. And during that break, I was kind of thinking this next album's got to be different. It can't be can't be anything like the last 2, 3 or whatever. Because it kind of felt like the band was the albums were coming out and they were just being just the usual stuff, So I was thinking there's something's missing, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And then I started listening to. Then I put the first album on, and I listened to it. I was like, "Oh, a second, we don't do this punk stuff anymore. We don't do this real aggro stuff anymore." And everything's all nice and pristine, and it's got all beautiful round corners and stuff. Whereas the sharp, spiky edge that Cradle used to have, and that's basically what brought it on. So I must admit, when I was writing the stuff, I had punk riffs coming out of my ears. but I couldn't obviously use all of it because it just wouldn't be the band.
Right.
But no, so I was headed down that road. And plus also in the studio as well. Whereas beforehand, there was a lot of cut and paste in the studio in Pro Tools, and it just sounded mundane. There was nothing exciting about it. So this time, me and Martin, the drummer, we recorded the whole thing basically me and him live in the studio to give it that really organic human feel to it.
And you can feel that on the album, and this is definitely one of those albums, at least to me, where you have to repeatedly listen to it to really fully appreciate what's going on there. It's on first spin, it's great. Like I said, it reminds me a lot of the whole vibe you had going with Midian, the concept and everything, but with repeated listenings, that's when you really pick up a lot of great stuff on it.
Yeah, it definitely... I mean, it's kind of written as well, so you can just basically throw it on and listen to it. You don't. Whereas, and this is the reason why also there was a lot of stuff removed in the studio as well, because on the demos, I mean, there's a special edition coming up when it's got all the demos for all the songs on the album in demo form as well, and you'll hear on that you can hear how much we've taken off, because on the demos it is absolutely riddled with orchestration, so. And because we actually removed a lot of the stuff, it gave us a different sound, it gave it a different approach, and plus also Scott Atkins, the producer, he wanted to he had an idea for the guitars, etc., to really push them up front, and therefore that will give us another sound. That's what makes it sound heavy, But at the end of the day, I was just saying to loads of people when they asked various sort of similar questions. I said, "We're a metal band, for fuck's sake." You know what I mean? It's just any decent metal band needs a guitar raging.
Of course, that's the crux of all of it. But now, the songwriting, as you said, other than the lyrics, obviously, is basically you and Martin. How does that process work with you guys? Do you guys each come in with your own things and sort of work them out, or you guys write it all together?
No, I mean, what usually happens is, what does happen, should I say, is I'll come up with riff ideas, and I'll program some drum beats down, just for something basic to follow, Mm-hmm. And I'll come up with ideas. Then eventually, once I've got say about 4 or 5 riffs together that flow really well, and I've got basic song structure, I'll send it off to Martin, and once he's got it, he'll play drums in and come up with drum ideas, send them back to me. They'll keep bouncing backwards and forwards like that. And once I get drums back, I'll rearrange stuff. I'll replay the riffs again to match his drums. I'll suggest, oh, can we have a more of a beat like this or like that, because there's a particular feeling I want for this, this, and this. And I keep going backwards and forwards, you know, and then eventually once we've got a like structure that me and him are happy with, and then he'll start doing the keys and stuff on it. I mean, this time we used a lot of like synths and samples this time as well as orchestration. But yeah, he keeps doing that. Once we've actually got the track done, we'll send it off to Dan and he'll come up with his lyrics for it and vocal patterns.
Right, and he came up with some great ones on this one, a real theme going there. And I wanted to mention, you mentioned keyboards and stuff from Martin. The gentleman who reviewed the album for us was really impressed with his work on Sinfonia. So figured I'd throw that out there and everything.
He's brilliant. Yeah, totally. He's amazing. He's a fully trained like classical pianist. Do you know what I mean? So it's, at the end of the day, what if we've got someone like that who's a drummer as well, and he plays guitar as well? You know, so it's like, so why not use the person in the band? Just so what if he's a drummer? If he's actually trained up like that and he's good, there's no need to get anyone else to do it, you know?
Right. Well, and you mentioned a minute ago, you know, getting that more organic feel by the two of you just sort of getting in the studio together and working on this stuff. But do you sort of feel like the technology that we have now, Pro Tools and stuff like that, like you said, you're sort of recording stuff and setting it back and forth. Do you think that sort of robs from the organic nature of creating music these days?
It's brilliant for having your home studio and for writing material, you know. It's the stuff superb for coming up with stuff, for coming up with ideas and recording ideas. And so you can like cut and paste riffs around them just for building songs, just for coming up with demos, ideas and like, you know, music. But for studio, I think it's killed it. For actually recording, actually in a studio, you know, there's people, I don't know, just nobody really seems to play anymore. They're just like quite happy just like putting a riff down and cutting and pasting it across.
Right.
There's I mean, the only reason why we did the album like this, I mean, originally I wanted us to do it on tape, but we couldn't find anyone in the studio who had a tape machine now.
Yeah.
You know? But which is ridiculous, because if we'd have managed to do it on tape, that'd have, oh man, the emotion and the atmosphere we would have captured on the music would have been phenomenal.
Right, it definitely.
You know? But oh, totally. But no, I think it has the absolutely killed it. Just like I think like the whole internet thing's actually killed the music industry.
Now, on the last album, Darkly, Darkly, you guys brought in basically an unknown vocalist, just a trained vocalist, Lucy Atkins, and she sort of returns for this one. She's kind of an off-the-grid performer. Where did you guys find her?
It was originally, it's Scott's wife. Scott Atkins, the producer.
Oh, wow. Well, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a bit of a no-brainer, really. And she's a performer. She goes out and does like little club shows on her own. You know, sings, does all the backing tracks, and she's a really good vocalist. So we were like kind of thinking we didn't want the typical opera stuff. I mean, what I'll say quickly is the only reason why we moved away from the orchestral stuff and the opera singing type stuff, because there's so many bands out there doing it now.
Right.
You know, it's not new. It's different. I mean, yeah, fair enough. Originally, some say, well, you started it. Yeah, fair enough. We may very well have done, but it doesn't mean to say we've still got to carry on using it, because like I said, so many bands and so many people are doing it now. It's not new, and it sounds kind of boring now. You know, so this is the reason why we got a vocalist like Lucy in, and also we've hit like a lot of the synths and samples on this new album, and like cut the orchestration right back, just to make it something different, a bit more refreshing for us.
Right, and let's be honest, it's hard to replicate what Sarah did, because she had such a unique style and everything. You don't just want to throw somebody in there to replicate what she did, so you got to go in a new direction.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
And we'll get to her in just a second, because you guys did the Midnight in the Labyrinth thing that I want to talk about in a moment. But there's a lot of great songs on the new album, but are there any songs in particular that really stand out for you? I know for Danny, the title track was really a big one for him, but are there one or two that really stand out for you on this album?
Yeah, For Your Vulgar. Everybody else sitting there go, really? Yeah. I don't know. When that riff was first written, I was like, holy fucking shit, that's brilliant. And as soon as that track was put together, even in demo form, I was playing it to people. I said, what do you reckon of this? And my friends would come around and go, holy shit, this is amazing. I went, yeah. And a lot of people were saying, is this the direction of the new album? I went, hell yeah. And they said, and everyone was like, fuck, I can't wait. You know, it's definitely For Your Vulgar. And I like Frost on the Pillow as well. which is really good.
The first single, right?
Yeah.
Now, and you have sort of your own unique guitar signature when you play. It's a very unique style. Would you say that the music that you play sort of influenced your style of play, or did the style of your play influence the music?
I think it's the style of my playing. So the thing is, people have said, where'd you get your style from? And I have no idea, to be honest. Well, I've never been. When I first started playing guitar, I could never work anything out from record. I was completely frigging deaf when it comes to trying to figure music out from record. So what I did, I actually started writing my own music in the vein of the bands that I liked. Like Maiden, Priest, Slayer, Motorhead, and all stuff like that.
Right.
And so right from day one, I suppose I kind of started developing my own style because I could never work stuff out from record. I never actually took anybody else's style on board, if you know what I mean.
Right.
So perhaps that's where it's came from, but it's definitely, my style definitely influenced music, for sure. It's not really the other way around, because I must admit, because I started up another band as well, just doing some stuff, just more of just mainstream, metal stuff. And people said, "Oh, you can hear who's played that." I think that's brilliant. So I've got to try and change my style.
Well, earlier this year, as I've alluded to, you guys also released Midnight in the Labyrinth, which is sort of orchestral versions of your earlier work. Whose idea was it to sort of come up with that? Why now? And how did Danny convince Sarah to come back and do some work on it?
Right from the very start, it was me and the manager that came up with the idea. We ended up, because we wanted to release it right from the very beginning, the idea we had for Midnight was to actually have public domain, really old black and white horror films, with the orchestral music, which is on Midnight in the Labyrinth now. But the problem we had was, one film could be, or one clip could be, free in one country, but another country you had to pay ridiculous amounts of royalties. Do you know what I mean? So we couldn't actually get a collection of films together or clips together which would be in the same territory with the same licensing. Everything was all spread all over the world in different places. We couldn't really, it was a nightmare. It was a freaking nightmare. So what we ended up doing was just releasing it as a audio album instead of a mixture of video and audio,
Right.
And then once we actually got it and finally come out, it took 3 or 5 years or something stupid like that to actually eventually to put it together. After all the sorting out and we've decided what we want to do, it took a long time to put it together. And the other idea for it was to actually give it to film companies and say, look, we can do orchestral stuff, we can do this, blah, 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 and to try and get into the film score side of things as well.
Wow.
It's more like a portfolio type thing, if you know what I mean.
Right.
And so we had to do something different, hit another market, get into get into the film side of things, as well as it being a special release for fans as well, But on the Sarah front, I don't know, because I was in the studio writing and doing other stuff, and when Dan eventually decided to get Sarah involved, so I had no part of that, so I don't know about that.
Gotcha. Well, it's nice to see they got her involved in it and everything. So, aside from music, though, you're also very big into graphic design, I understand. Tell us a little bit about how you got into that and your passion for that.
I've always been into painting. When I was a kid, when I used to live at home, my dad's an oil painter, and not professionally, but he does it as a hobby, and he taught me how to oil paint years ago. And I haven't done it for a long ass time, but he taught me how to do that. And I've always been interested in it. And then when I left, after we wrote Dusk and Embrace, and me and the Ryan brothers left, we did The Blood Divine. And then while I was doing that, I got a job as in a graphics house, just doing designs and stuff for various other things. And that's when I was introduced to Photoshop. And I basically worked in this place for free, just so I could learn Photoshop, just sit there, just do stuff and work on projects. He didn't pay me for it, which I wasn't particularly bothered, because that actually gave me the chance to sit there all the time without this guy, boss, whoever he was, stressed over how many hours I'm taking up. He's got to pay me, so I was sat there for free doing stuff. And then I kind of got into Photoshop. And then when I came back in the band, I kind of jumped straight into it, and they said, "Oh, we need so-and-so, we need this, we need that, blah, blah, blah." And I said, "Well, I can do that. They went, oh, really? I said, yeah. So I started doing all, like, load of the Cradle stuff. Then I got into video editing and all this sort of shit, you know. So, yeah, I mean, and then when I got, for the vomitorium side of things, this was years ago, I went to Grass Pop and I met a girl, Cindy Frey, a photographer, Belgian photographer. And she was all into the dark art and stuff. She goes, well, if I send you a picture, will you do this and see what you come up with? I went, yeah, all right. So I did it, and like, she loved it, and then we was partners for a bit. And then I ended up having to, and then just recently, what I've done, I've actually put it on hold because I was concentrating on the new album. I give guitar lessons on Skype now. Just all sorts of music stuff. I've got a studio as well, you know, so there's a lot of stuff actually I didn't want to spread too thin, but like now I've just started releasing it again, like bringing the vomitorium stuff back up again, like doing shirts and we've got beanies and iPhone covers and all that stuff now, so which will be like released, I don't know, in a couple of months.
So, well, that sort of spreads you, as you said, pretty thin between the music, the graphic design, but is there anything else outside of music and that you're pretty passionate about?
Yeah, I like martial arts, which is good. You know, I haven't trained for 2 or 3 years because of moving and various other like life things got in the way. But I'm planning on getting back into that again pretty soon. But no, I love martial arts. I've been training since I was like 6 years old.
Oh wow!
So it was Oh no, it's good though. It's good. We've got, like I said, we've got the music. And like I said, I had to like stop stuff just so I can concentrate on music.
Right.
Because in the end of the day, that's my main thing. The other stuff are just like by sidelines, you know, which when I'm not doing music, I just jump onto and I'll do little bits of them, you know. But music is the main thing for me.
Well,
I absolutely love writing music. Just sitting there arranging and composing is just the best thing ever.
Well, nice segue. It takes us to our last question then. It's almost the end of another year. I can hardly believe it's almost here already, but are there 1 or 2 albums for you that are really standing out for you this year that you just seem to keep going back to?
Yeah, I love the new Creator album, which is good.
Antichrist, yep.
Yeah, that's fucking brilliant. I love it. I'm a huge Creator fan anyhow, you know, but they've actually really gone back to... There's another band that's kind of like... There seems to be a lot of bands that kind of go back to what they used to do, but more of a modern touch to it, you know?
Right.
And Creators is one of them. They've gone back to like Pleasure to Kill type era, but with a modern twist, but with a few more modern riffs. But that's the feel of it. I fucking love it, man. It's just like, it's constantly in my car all the time.
So is that looking like it's your album of the year, perhaps?
Yeah, that thing is just fucking brilliant. Brilliant. See, the thing is, because I'm not a huge like new music like fan,
right,
at all. Because there's nothing apart from the new Creator album. There's nothing which has come out for me. I listen to and I've gone, oh, okay. And because every time I listen to something, I want the response of like holding your fist in the air and getting shivers up your spine and the hair stand up on your neck and all that stuff. You know, that's when I know something's really hit the mark. And nothing since fucking years ago has ever done that for me. But listening to like this Creator album, I was like, holy shit! Oh my god, this is fucking badass. You know, it's really, really good. You know, and I get the same buzz as well. I mean, the new Cradle album, it's I've got the same buzz for this and the same enthusiasm for this. Exactly what it was like when we first did Principle. Which is saying something because the other stuff, don't get me wrong, the other stuff's really, really good and I love the albums, but this particular one is really hit the fucking nail on the head, you know?
Awesome. Paul Allender of Cradle of Filth, thank you so much for taking the time. Glad to hear Vomitorium's going to be coming back, and the new album, incredible, nice way to get back to the earlier sound. I can't thank you enough for taking a few minutes to talk with us.
Thank you very much, man. It was an absolute pleasure.